Welcome everybody to the Los Angeles Family Church, the first Sunday of April. Please rise and join our band for the Chunilguk Anthem.
One.
Good morning, everybody. Let's put our hands together.
Thank you, band. Please join me in prayer. Dear most beloved Heavenly Parents, true parents, Jesus, thank you so much for this beautiful Sunday morning. We can gather here as the Los Angeles Family Church. We're so grateful for this space and this time that you have provided for us to share in heart with you and our brothers and sisters and hear your words at this time, Heavenly Parent. So we pray that we can be invigorated and renewed as we start a new week and a new month, and we pray that you will join us in today's worship and festivities and fellowship, and report this in all of our names. Aju. Let's take a couple minutes to greet each other. Everyone say hello, turn to a partner. Maybe there's some new faces. Share some gratitudes. Happy April.
We're going to continue on with some praise and worship. Let's put our hands together again. We're going to sing Song of the Heavenly Soldiers. And 1, 2, 3, here we go. Beautiful morning sunrise, come above the land of our hope. Robed in white, chosen people, fighting for the land of God. Time because there's no one else.
Kyle, to the front.
Why does everyone turn to your neighbor and say, God is in your life, God is in you, God is in me?
Take this one. Yeah, take this one.
Okay, we're going to continue on with one more song before the sermon. When I behold the Lord of all, my old self dies away. So dies the world of sinfulness, giving birth
me in prayer? Beloved God, our heavenly parent, true parents in Jesus, we thank you. And God, we acknowledge your presence here this morning. As we sing this song, we behold you in our hearts. And I pray, God, that we can continue to hear your voice and to know your heart more deeply, and that it may direct our steps. We may do the best we can to build your kingdom here on earth. As we're here and we understand it, we know your principle and we know your heart. So we thank you. We offer this prayer in every name here in Joshua and Takayo Holmes' name as a blessed central couple, I pray. Amen. Please be seated. And let's give a round of applause to our Los Angeles Family Church band. Thank you so much. So if you can turn to a neighbor, as we usually do, just make sure you're not alone. I know some people are sitting alone. Turn to a neighbor and you can share 1, 2, 3, 4, even make it 5 gratitude points. Just share some gratitude with one another before we jump in. All right. You can thank your neighbor. Thank your neighbor. Give them a high five. Give your neighbor a low 5, middle 5, too slow. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So today, actually before I get into anything, I have just 3 announcements. One is, for those that know, Yaiko-san, Yaiko Echevarria, her Seonghwa ceremony will be held at Forest Lawn of Covina, 9:30 a.m. on Friday. So this coming Friday, please look forward to that. I know it's a challenging day, but if you can make your way out there, super grateful to honor Yaiko-san's life. Also, Special Grace is happening the day after. So if you're a part of the Special Grace ceremony, then it's on the 8th at 11 a.m. right here. For now, it's going to be right here. And we may have future dates for the Special Grace Holy Wine ceremony, but the 8th is the day for now. And then last announcement is, actually we have a middle school and high school Easter workshop coming up on April 21, 22, and 23. So please look out for that. Spread the news. There's flyers outside if you want to grab one, and also registration for that. So that's April 21, 22, and 23, and that'll be at Pasadena House. So that's actually the first 3-day or long-term workshop we've had since the start of COVID. So it's a big deal. So I know our team, our prayer team is praying for it every single morning. And so please share the news about that. Aju? Okay. So today, we've been kind of on this, today will be the last day of our going through Abraham's course. So for those that are new here, new with us today from Bay Area, we've been going through Abraham's course. The reason is because that's what True Mother asked us to do. I say it every week. Mother Moon is our founder, and she asked all of our leaders to listen to this lecture. She specifically chose it. And so did everyone do the homework? Everyone read Abraham's Family? Okay, 3 or 4 or 5. Okay, it's all right. Anyway, I encourage you to dust off that divine principle, take a look at it, and see what inspires you. See what comes up for you. It doesn't take long to read, but it's also not short, so you may need to do it in a few sittings. So the last piece of that story, yesterday we talked about Abraham and Isaac in the service then. What we're going to talk about today is Jacob and Esau. Jacob and Esau, yeah, a fan. And really the essence of that story is a story of reconciliation. It's a story where a bad relationship is healed through the effort of both sides, but particularly the effort of Jacob. Most of us know the story. We'll get into it. But I have my own personal experience with this. And recently, I was in New York, and we were pastoring in New York, Takayo and I, and we had this huge plan for our Sunday service. So we were actually going to watch the World Cup at Sunday service. That was the big plan. And because it landed on a Sunday, if you remember. And so we decided the whole thing, we're going to open it up to the entire world. We advertised. We had 100-something people come in this tiny. Our church in New York is a third of the size of this sanctuary. So we had all these people coming to watch the World Cup, and then our pastor would deliver a World Cup sermon, something about soccer, And we had this whole plan, and it was something we had been investing in, preparing for, and we were very excited because we felt like it was going to reach some people we hadn't been able to reach in a long time. It's kind of great, actually. I hope to do that here, the World Cup here at Sunday service. Why not? Yeah, some people clap. You don't have to sacrifice, church. But I got a text message, or actually I got a phone call from someone a few days before the event started. And kind of, just so you know, in New York, basically Takayo and I ran the whole show. It was just, we didn't have very many volunteers, not very many people. So if I wasn't there, it would be a problem. But someone gave me a call and said, and I'm not going to say any names, but basically they told me, Joshua, I think someone really needs to see you. I really think someone needs to see you. And you're going to have an opportunity to see them. And if you miss this opportunity, I'm worried that you're going to lose this person somehow. And it was someone very close to my heart, someone that I cherish, and it's someone I actually have been quite frustrated with, because I felt like they turned their back on me, or I felt like they had, hurt me in some kind of way. And I got really angry at this person, the person that called me. I was just like, what the? First of all, you don't know me that well. Yeah, what right do you have to tell me to go to this person? I had all these kind of Cain-type feelings or whatever, and I was just like, man, how can you tell me? You got your own family problems. Why are you talking about my problems? So I had all these kind of negative thoughts about it. But after he called me and I was venting to Takayo, I was just like, man, this guy, he thinks he can come into my life and tell me to do this. We have all these programs. There's no way I can go anyway. So there's no way. And so I ended up going into prayer about it, and just in talking to Takayo. And even when I was talking to her, I felt God tell me to go. Drop the World Cup. Someone else can handle it. Someone else can figure it out. Sacrifice the World Cup. My gosh. And for some people, that's like religion, luckily not for me, but this whole thing, I decided to purchase a flight 3 days before. This is a super expensive flight, and just go to see that person. I don't make very much money, guys, so that was challenging. But I felt like I had to, and I decided to stay there for about a week. I don't know why, just God told me go. And I ended up going there, and we spent the whole entire week together. And me and this person and their family. And I just, I took care of their kids, all this kind of stuff. I was just there with the family, and we talked a whole lot about church, a whole lot about spirituality. I was surprised, all these different conversations. And on the final night that I was there, for whatever reason, they sat down with me, and they just started to talk to me honestly about their struggles with our faith, their issues with our church community here. And they started to pour out a lot of different things that I had never known. And also they asked a ton of questions that I never believed they would ever ask me. It's like I'm that kid that's in the church, that's super gung-ho. It's all these different things, but they felt like, they just needed to share. And I remember the feeling in that moment when we had that kind of that interaction and that whole week. And the feeling was that I loved these people again. That's what I felt at the end of it. I actually genuinely love this person. I didn't realize that for so long, years and years, I'm talking 10 years, I didn't love this person. I didn't love them. And I didn't realize I didn't until that moment when my heart was our hearts were so warmed. Until this day, that person is involved in my life right now. Like they're really involved in everything, and almost like they've opened up to it all. But the key behind it, for my experience personally, this is a huge breakthrough, and for me, and for them as well. The key was that I decided to fly there. I decided to drop everything and go there, substantially be in their life. Trust me, I've been praying for these people. Trust me, I've been offering devotion for these people. But it required me to actually fly there, spend some money, throw down some substance, and actually be in their life. Spend time in their life. Be present and be willing. I took care of their kids for like a week. Just be willing. And from that, what I believe happened was reconciliation. Now, I think all of us desire for that. I really do. I think we cry deep tears for people that we wish were with us. I really do. And I think we cry deep tears for people that we wish we were closer to, whether it's our parents or whether it's our children or our brothers and sisters. And whether it be family or friends, we can't be content until there's reconciliation. I don't think we really can be. Can you really be happy? Are you really satisfied with your life, knowing that the person that you love is not with you? There's no way. And I didn't realize it. I'd been so calloused. I just thrown a bunch of, soil on top of it. My friend always says, okay, I'm going to be a little vulgar, if it's okay, because I'm going to quote my friend. He said, okay, actually I can't. Okay, I'll be PG. Cat poop on a bed is still cat poop on a bed if you throw a blanket on it. Okay, you can translate that the way that my friend translated that. Point is, if the problem is there, as much as we want to do other things and it's still there, and it reeks, and it affects your life, and you can't find true joy. And neither can God. And that's where our true parents' understanding of our heavenly parent is so deep. That God cannot be satisfied unless every single person is back in his embrace. We have the same nature in our lives. So I want to read about Jacob and Esau and their relationship. This was the moment of reconciliation. So I'm going to read a little bit. So it's Genesis 33, and I'm going to read about 11 verses. And it says this, and Jacob, this is when Jacob defeated the angel at the ford of Jabbok, and now he's about to confront his brother. He says, and Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau was coming, and 400 men with him. So he divided the children among Leah and Rachel and the 2 female servants. And he put the servants with their children in front, and then Leah with her children, and Rachel and Joseph last of all. He himself went on before them, bowing himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. But Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And when Esau lifted up his eyes and saw the woman and children, he said, who are these with you? Jacob said, the children whom God has graciously given your servant. Then the servants drew near, they and their children bowed down. Leah likewise and her children drew near and bowed down. And last Joseph and Rachel drew near, and they bowed down. Esau said, what do you mean by all this company that I met? Jacob answered, to find favor in the sight of my Lord. But Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself. Jacob said, no, please. If I have found favor in your sight, then accept my present from my hand. For I have seen your face, which is like seeing the face of God, and you have accepted me. Please accept my blessing that is brought to you, because God has dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. Thus he urged him, and he took it. That's the story. Everyone knows this story, right? Jacob and Esau. This particular moment really stands out to me. To me, this is the highest expression of what we call the foundation of substance. And so when we say foundation of substance, a lot of people struggle with it. For me, I translate it very simply as a foundation of relationship. Substance means relationship. Substance is relationship. It's the actual relationship I have with you as a physical person. So my faith is between me and God, and it's intangible, but my substance is between me and you. It's us together, the substance of things. But Esau runs to meet him. Jacob sends all of his stuff, sends everything he has, bows down 7 times, total humility before his brother. And Esau runs and tackles him and embraces him with kisses. That's what he does. That to me is the highest expression of reconciliation that we have. Now imagine if we had that in our lives, in our relationships. When's the last time you've embraced someone with, you tackled someone like Yuki and just hugged him and embraced him and kissed him? That kind of totally overwhelmed with love for you because you won my heart. You've won my heart. How many of us have that relationship with our own children or our own brothers and sisters? Do those experiences happen? And so when True Mother talks about this, or True Parents talk about it, she says a few things. On February 13th, and I feel she's imploring for us to find reconciliation within our relationships, that it's not enough just to proclaim that things and not just enough to do prayer and devotion, but we actually have to arrive at healthy, substantial relationships. She says the same is also true for the Korean people. What made the Korean people who share the same culture, lineage, and traditions divide into North and South? Korea is the one and only divided nation on this globe. Only when Korea is unified can there be peace in Eastern Europe and Northeast Asia. Do you understand? You should know that we, the people living in the world today, need to become children attending Heavenly Parent through True Parents, for we are connected to Him by heavenly law. I've already said that a world of true peace, freedom, equality, unity, and happiness with humanity living in it as one family centering on our Heavenly Parent can only be realized when the Korean people and all other nations attend heaven as their parent. In this regard, I wish to make a request of the citizens of South and North Korea as the true parent. I hope for South and North Korea to unite as one with me and become one brethren and achieve true unification on the Korean Peninsula. Only then can all human beings in the world become the sons and daughters of our Heavenly Parent and achieve world peace and unity in this age and generation. When I read these words, of course, she's explaining what needs to be done, and she's describing that what needs to happen is that North and South Korea actually have to unite as brethren, centered on God, actually come together in unity and in love with one another, substantially. And she also describes this with her own grandchildren on February 6th. Her grandchildren are walking with you on this journey, learning to complete God's providence together. Do you understand? You are brothers and sisters together. Please love and help one another so that we can reveal a strong Chonyeoguk, kingdom of heaven, to all people. So, in my perspective, understanding True Parents' words, reconciliation in our family and in our relationships is the providence. It is the providence. So we often misunderstand, I feel, this. Call me crazy, but I really when we think providence, we think UPF, right? Typically when you hear providence, you think UPF, ACLC, Women's Federation for World Peace, YSP, CARP activity, right? Witnessing, which is all very true. Those things are providence. But providence is also our relationships in our family. That is providence, and it stands on an equal plane. Strategically, we have to invest in outreach and do efforts out there to rebuild God's kingdom, but at the same plane, we have to reconcile the relationships in our own family. It's a requirement, because when True Father says that it starts from individual to family to nation to world, if we want to reach the world, you have to figure it out on an individual and a family level. Reconciliation is providence. So our relationship and our breakthrough in our relationships in our family are a top priority for us. Aju? It has to be a top priority. But reconciliation requires personal and interpersonal investment. So my individual self, but also my relationship with other people. That investment, particularly the investment of whoever is able. So whoever understands God's heart, whoever knows God's heart, they're in a position to particularly invest. So I'm going to just kind of go into this a little bit with the Jacob and Esau story. And I hope where we can arrive is that we can get at least take a step in the direction of seeking reconciliation with our family and our friends and allowing that to be a priority for our life. So the first is, many of us want people to understand who true parents are, right? You want people to know who true parents are, and you want them to receive the way that we've received Father and Mother Moon in our life. And we desperately long for those people to simply accept it. Just, if they hear the divine principle, they'll just get it, They'll just get it. But actually, in the principle, it describes that that's not the case. A foundation for somebody to receive the Messiah, it requires them to have a what? Foundation of faith and a foundation of substance. And if we don't have the substance, then the ability to receive the Messiah is heavily limited. It's heavily blocked off. And so for the reality of sending the Messiah into the lives of the people of Israel at the time, the requirement was that an experience of unity had to take place between Jacob and Esau. That's the principle. That had to take place before God could even think about sending anyone to these people. So Jacob's mission and responsibility was really just twofold. It's three, but primarily it's two. Is one, he has to be in a position of able to his brother Cain, to his brother Esau, who's in the position of Cain. There has to be somebody who God is working through to love that person. And then second, he needs to complete the substantial offering. In other words, he needs to win Esau's heart. He has to win Esau's heart. So those two things are a requirement to allow for someone to even have the space to receive the Messiah in their life. To even have the space to receive it, substance is needed. And so we can dream all we want about bringing people into an experience with our true parents, or bringing our children back to the church, or all these different things that we long to see. But if there's no substance, they cannot receive the Messiah. So this is what we understand with Jacob and Esau's. And so the first responsibility that Jacob has is that he has to become able. He has to be in a position where God can use him. And also, he has to be in a position where he can substantially show that God is working in his life. And Esau knows it. Esau needs to know it. And so the first piece of that is that Jacob needs to inherit the blessing, right? You guys know the story. He tricks his father into getting the blessing. So for us in this era, how I translate that is that we already have that. We don't need any trickery anymore. You received the blessing from Father and Mother Moon already. You received the blessing from parents already. Your blessed children are, you will. So don't worry. We have already the blessing. The key for us is the next thing that Jacob has to do. Jacob has to go on a trip to his uncle Laban's home in Haran. And he has to train himself, train his heart, and build his foundation. He needed to gain family and wealth as his inheritance. And so he triumphs over his uncle, and he works for his uncle basically for 21 years, just works for his uncle, and he gains all of his family and wealth, his inheritance. In other words, what Jacob had to do was, first of all, bring substantial results to his own life. He had to prove in substance that he was able. He couldn't just say to Esau, I love God. I have God with me. He had to show in substance that God was with him through the substantial results that he had in his life. He had the wealth and he had the family. And and he can put all those things in front of him, and then Esau could be won over. But it was a substantial result. It was a living principle. It was living the principle of God working through him. So just to understand that, what is like an undeniable or substantial result in his life? You have to, you can think about it. Of course, there's like witnessing. There's how many people have like experienced the divine principle through you or came to the church or something like that. But also financial foundation. Jacob secured a financial foundation. Is this sacrilegious to say in the church? I don't know. But this is true. It's written in his story. He had to build his foundation. Would people take True Father seriously if he didn't have the businesses that he started? If he didn't have those organizations that he built up to prove that he was who he said he was? You have to have a foundation, a substantial one. Also, he had to show true love with his wife. As the substantial thing was the love between him and his wives, or his wife particularly. It was a different time. He had to show that substance in his life. Abel has to bring that substance. And so maybe we're in a position where we want to bring someone into an experience with this community or an experience with True Parents, and you want to be in a position of Abel, but we have a challenging relationship in our conjugal lives, then we're lacking a piece of it. So this is part of where we can train and we can grow and we can develop. And us as a community, we want to help you through that. That's why we have things like the BFM, Blessed Family Department. Also, another substantial thing is, and this one's big for me, is health and wellness. How many people are won over by a community where everyone is sick? Oh, gosh. You gotta be healthy. We gotta actually be healthy. Brother, you gotta lift some weights. He was in my first One Heart Camp team. I get to pick on him. But our health and wellness, how much are you considering your diet? There's three things, right? There's diet, there's exercise, and there's sleep. How much are we considering these things in our lives? This is substance. Jacob wasn't going to Esau with nothing to his name. He proved that God was working through him. Does this make sense? He proved that he was working through. He showed, look what I have, Esau. I have as much as you because God worked through for 21 years and I slaved away with my uncle Laban and I give it all to you. This is my love for you. So the substance of things, substantial results. And I also believe witnessing is a major piece of this too. One of the things that people can't deny for me in my life is that I've had people who have literally saved their lives because of the divine principle. My spiritual son, he was ready to take his life, no value at all. But because of his experience with the divine principle, he is still alive today. He's got a fresh spirit around him. And that is substance. No one can tell me it's not true because it's true in this person that I've met. Amen? That's you. The second thing is to become a spiritual champion. So Jacob, right before he meets Esau, what does he do? He fights an angel. He fights an angel. And the angel knocks his hip bone out. Straight up dislocates his hip. Jacob triumphs over this fight. Basically, he grapples the angel till the angel says, he taps out. He says, this guy's crazy. And he's like, name him something else. He can't be Jacob anymore. Name him Israel, which means victor or triumphant. He restores, essentially, dominion over the angel. When Father Moon talks about this, he says, Jacob then possessed a condition to win over the satanic world. The entire spirit world would assist him because of the condition he set. He really conquered spirit world by winning over the angel. Spiritually, the battle was already won. So before Jacob even went to Esau, he won what battle? The spiritual battle. He won that battle. He took it down. My gosh. Mother says it in a different way, in the same words I feel, which is offer sincere prayer and devotion. Offer sincere prayers and devotion. Particularly, she suggests to do it at the Chonshinwan, which is why Takayo and I, right after this, we're driving over to Vegas, actually, with Uncle Pasquale and Mrs. Tamorjan. So what we understand is that if I want to be in a position of able to someone, if I want to guide someone in their life and win them over, bring reconciliation, I want to influence the world, I have to be spiritually a champion. I have to win that battle. So although I'm saying substantial results, there is the incredible aspect of our spiritual effort in our prayers and devotions. So I guess, yeah. So this is Jacob's first step. Then the second step is that he arrives at true reconciliation. For true reconciliation to take place, whoever it is that you're trying to reach has to see God in your face. They have to substantially see God in you. And there's really 4 things that needed to happen. Jacob needed to win Esau this much. 1, that Esau would fall in love with his brother Jacob. Then 2nd, that he would respect him as God's mediator. That 3, he would obediently submit to Jacob's direction and guidance. And 4, he would multiply goodness by inheriting the goodness of Jacob. That's true reconciliation. That's the reverse of the fallen natures, as Uncle Stephen just said. It's the reverse of the fallen natures. He had to love him, he had to respect him, he had to be obedient to him, and he had to multiply goodness like he's doing. That's reconciliation. That's fall on your face, kiss you, and embrace you. That's where it arrives at. For Esau to change the way that he lives his life because he saw the face of God in Jacob. So how do we arrive at that conclusion? I believe it's entirely up to Abel. Not entirely, of course. There's a two-way street. Esau had his portion of responsibility. But I really want to focus on Abel. I really want to focus on Jacob. The one who shoulders the major burden in walking the course of indemnity is the Abel person who serves as the central figure of the offering. So it's not an easy space for Abel to be in. But Abel is responsible to pour out everything he has. So Jacob gave all his wealth and people to Esau, then bowed himself down. In other words, he gave everything he had. He put everything out on the line. Esau could have easily taken it all and killed him, which was his plan. Wow, that would have been shady for him to do that. But it wasn't just prayers and devotion. The point is that for reconciliation to take place, we have to give everything we have. I have to cancel my plans. I have to buy that ticket. I have to go there for a week. I have to spend time there. And I have to love and give everything I can give. I don't have much to give in terms of wealth, but I have my time. I have my love. I have my listening ear. I have these things that I can offer. And those things win people's hearts. So the consideration is, have we substantially given all that we can? Have we made that phone call every week to our son or to our daughter, to that friend that we haven't called? Have we done Starbucks ministry with our children? Gosh, or Starbucks ministry with an elder or younger brother or older brother, sister. You know, I talked to someone one time in Manhattan, and he was struggling with his son. He was really suffering because his son has kind of been away doing all these different things and hurting his life, really hurting his life. And he came to me, and it's like, I'm a young guy, and he was like, Joshua, what do I do? It's like, man, I mean, I'm not in a position to, I feel like I'm not in a position to tell him how he raised his son, but he was desperately asking. He was just like, Josh, what do I do? I said, what does your son like to do? So that's what I asked. I said, what does your son like to do? He's like, well, he likes the outdoors. And I said, well, why don't you take him camping? And he could see the veal leave from his eyes. Like it was like hope had returned to his face, and he's like, he was like, I never thought about that. I never thought about doing the thing that my son likes to do. And so he took him camping in the wintertime. And it was a great experience. You create the opportunity for reconciliation to take place by giving what you have to give. And no, it's not what you like to do. No, it's not comfortable, nor was it what Jacob wanted to do, but it's what he had to do to win his brother's love. So Esau meets him, falls on his neck, kisses him, and that is the foundation of victory, where the Messiah can be received. And Esau, in the end, receives God's love. So yesterday, I'm going to conclude with a story and a call to action. My call to action is this, and I'll conclude with this story. Become able, through substantial results in spiritual and as spiritual champion. My suggestion, first of all, the spiritual is really good. Okay, I'm giving an easy place to start. Some of you are already on the substantial results, but I know not everyone's there. I understand. So an easy one, offer prayers and devotions at Chonshima. Just give it a shot. Take a weekend and go there. And just try it out. Trust me. Miracles will take place. Right, Uncle Ernesto? We're not crazy. We're not crazy. Trust me. Amazing things take place. Reconciliation. Try the Starbucks ministry out. Trust me. Or don't go to Starbucks though. This kind of ghetto, you know. So try like a nice cafe. Go to Akemi and her husband's new cafe they have in I don't know where it is. Somewhere. But what I mean by Starbucks ministry is take time with someone one-on-one. Spend time with them. And don't try not to talk. My mom has a rule, the 80-20 rule. 80% listening, 20% talking. Try it out. I know this is tough for some people, but try it out. 80% listening, 20% talking. And have and enjoy a nice cup of coffee or tea, whatever you can drink. Try it out. It'll totally move someone's heart. I love to spend time with Yuki Homa every other week. We go get coffee every other week. We do ministry together every other week. This is one of my greatest joys. It brings so much back for me, Yuki, actually. I spend time with you, and maybe I ask you some questions, and you share, but at the end of it, I'm the one that feels really great. I get to spend time with you. So here's the final story. Yesterday, I testified to my dad a lot, and I want to testify to him again. My mom's amazing, so I have a lot more testimonies to share, but I just want to share about my dad. And the reason, I know he's uncomfortable with me doing this. He'll probably punch me later. That's okay. He never punches anyway. He'll get mad at me. But it's important because I feel if no one testifies about my dad, no one will. If I don't, then no one will, because I know his life. And now my dad is the example I think everyone can follow for reconciling relationships. Really. And so my experience with my dad is he, for many of our first generation parents, they came into this movement and they lost their ability to communicate with their family. And so many challenges emerged from that, right? So much resentment from family members, other things. And my dad, had ended up with a very challenging relationship with his mother, right? My grandma. And so for many years, even she even tried to go to the center and try to pull him out of the center, right? When he joined this movement. And all these different things. It's very challenging. And all the family members, they really struggled with my dad for making this decision. But, he made a choice in his life to believe in what he believed and to follow that purpose. But they couldn't see that. They couldn't see the honor of that. And so they really resented him in many ways. And so my dad, at some point, True Father asked every family to go back to their hometown. And so my dad came to LA. He moved from Alabama with his 4-year-old daughter, Sunmi, and moved to LA to be close to my grandma. And here's the amazing thing, is that for 38 years, my dad has been going to my grandma's house every single week, sometimes twice a week, to just be with her. To just be with her. And at first, I know it was a challenging relationship. But over 33 years, That's consistency. 33 years just investing and going there and loving my grandma, taking care of her, fixing that, doing the garden, doing whatever. She breaks things every week. I swear she breaks things on purpose just so that he comes back. She's just breaking stuff. And he goes and he's fixing. And my dad's exhausted. He's working so hard. Many of you know. Now you know. My dad works so hard, but he's there twice a week now. He goes to my grandma's house, takes care of her. Takes care of her, takes care of her. And my experience in all of that is that he's completely won over her heart and completely won over my family's heart. Reconciliation took place in our family, and there's love. But because my dad invested, and my mom supported that investment throughout all those years, putting up with a whole lot of garbage, they did it. And the conclusion of it is love. They experienced joy together. And I hope that all of us can experience that. That's not my dad's testimony alone. It's our testimony that we deserve to have, but it requires Jacob, Abel, you and I to make that, to buy that ticket and to go there and make the investment. So, thank you. Please join me in prayer. Beloved God, our Heavenly Parent, true parents in Jesus, I pray that we may recognize that your desire is for us to have reconciliation in our family and our relationships. This is the primary providence that we have, God. It is. Along with everything else we do, this is providence. And I pray that we may invest into it like it is. God, and I pray that we may make the investment that makes us uncomfortable, but guides us there. Whether that means in our investment in our personal lives to become able through substance and devotion, or maybe that is in our effort, our substantial effort in relating and caring and loving those who need it. I thank you, God, and I offer this prayer to you. 이 기도를 축복주신 가정 Joshua and Takaya Holmes 이름으로 포기드리며 아리였습니다. Amen and amen. So you could turn to the person next to you and share any inspiration or things that came up.
Let's wrap up our discussions if we can all rise for the prayer song.
Thank you, band. Thank you, everybody. So before we go into our closing song, I just wanted to cover a couple of announcements. So next week is Easter Brunchin'. So if you're here, you'll have a very special service for you. And don't forget, if you're participating in Special Grace Holy Wine, the ceremony is April 8th. And as Pastor Joshua said, they may open up another date, so stay tuned for that. And the Easter workshop for high school and middle school is April 21st, 23rd, so please register for that. And if you have any other announcements, please check the e-news. Thank you, everyone.
All right, well, let's sing Every Praise. Yeah.
Okay.